welcome to Sonia Podcast. So, I'm going to tell you why psychologists said that it's good to experience both positive and negative emotion, and why is very important. It all comes down to the psychological side effects of suppressing your emotions. So, let's say, for instance, you're experiencing joy and sadness at the same time. And why is that critical to your health? She's an MD, an internal medicine physician in California, and here's why she says this. She said, there is well-documented research about the physiological benefits of laughing. It lowers your cortisol level, it de-stresses the body, and it essentially lowers inflammation. It's also the medical establishment, which is a scientific measure and objective. Laughter is a pure, spontaneous physical act. It balances the control of medical environment. So that's the purpose of you being happy. Now, why are negative emotions critical? Suppressing certain emotion can lead to physiological changes in the body that can cause illness. Say, for instance, you have depression. That's more likely to suffer from chronic pain. But medical system hasn't recognized the relationship between emotional health and physical elements to the degree that we need to take irritable bowel syndrome. Not long ago, these diseases were not recognized as established diagnosed. Patients, often women, were told there's nothing wrong with you. Right? That's for negative emotion. So, fibromyalgia and IBS are real. But the practice in medicine is still to order blood tests and do a physical exam. So if the test has no abnormalities and the exam doesn't show something grossly obvious, then you're told nothing is wrong with you. This is why the last 2 decades has seen such a spike in the growth of alternative forms of healing. Now think about it. That's a big shift in the way we look at illness and realization that there's an undeniable link between body and mind, right? You battled depression early in your life. Did that shape? Okay. Part of the reason you made a commitment to continue that through the depths of depression, contemplating suicide at your worst moment in medical school. Once you hit that lower point, you never wanted to go there again. Now, most of us experience sadness, but you also need to realize you have a lot of other feelings. And you need to create room for your other feelings. Take sadness, for instance. When sadness basically comes up, it can be all kinds of reasons, but your body is actually telling you, giving you signals that something is not alignment with each other. So, we are told that being happy, you should always be happy, but we don't always feel happy. We can't all walk around. The craziest thing? That the person that smiles the most, and I don't know if y'all heard this or y'all know this, is the most saddest. Because they have conditioned themselves to not let people see how they really feel. So they just always smiling. And you look at them and you say, that person is happy. But I always say, look into the eyes. You can actually tell. I know a young lady, she smiled, but I always could tell when something's not right. And I look at her, I said, what's wrong? She said, how you know something's wrong? I said, because you're so pleasant, you're so nice. But as me looking at you, I can just tell something's wrong. And she's like, can I get a hug? I'm like, yeah, sure. Normally, I don't hug people. I'm very non-affectionate. But I only do it because I know at that moment you might really need that hug. Because I know sometimes I be saying, I wish somebody come hug me. I wish my kids sometimes just come and just put their arms around me. Just out of nowhere. But, that's all how it is. So, according to the doctor, they want you to figure out the emotions you feel, take ownership of them. You have shadows of darkness. Do the work. Understand where they come from. Best get to know yourself. Get to know yourself. And just work on just you. Now, we're going to explain anxiety, because this is a part of feelings. So you have clinical anxiety and the anxiety disorder. And that's a group of 5 mood disorder. Mostly affects how you feel. And anxiety is not just, everybody get the same anxiety. That's not happening. So, according to the clinical psychologist Alfie, there are guideposts to help determine the type of clinical anxiety you may be experiencing and how to best go about treating it. For example, generalized anxiety disorder typically presents as recurrent chronic anxiety and more worry and tension than the average person, even when there's not a particularly stressful trigger, according to the National Institution of Mental Health. Meanwhile, obsessive compulsive disorder often characterized by obsession, recurrent unwanted thoughts, or compulsive behavior, which can include hand washing, counting, checking, or cleaning. It is important, however, that you don't have to be officially diagnosed with anxiety to experience similar symptoms. Anxiety is something that helps human beings respond to the world around them and survive. The problem is when anxiety isn't serving survival, but rather, making life difficult every day. This is when you have to go. You're on the verge of a disorder territory. Now, keep that in mind. Let's say, for instance, you experience a panic attack. This is for people who have chronic anxiety. Like me, the other day, I'm standing on a train, and I'm trying my best. The train is getting crowded, and this young lady, she's like really, really tall, and she's like kind of like not heavy, but I can't even say curvy because she's just big. She's not curvy, she's big. So I'm trying to move away from her, and she just keep getting closer and closer, and the train just keep getting crowded, and she just keep getting closer. So I'm looking for ways to find, I can move away from her. So then I tapped her. I'm like, excuse me, you're causing me to have anxiety. You're causing my anxiety go up. I need you to kind of move. Because the reason why, after a while, I seen she had space to move, but for some reason she would not move from me. And it was just causing me to feel so close in, and Like, I just felt like my heart racing and I'm feeling these hot flashes and stuff like that. So she literally gets mad. And I'm like, excuse me, I don't know why you upset, because you're in my space. I'm not in your space. All right? You have space right there. You can move right there. So back to what I was saying. Panic attacks are chronic anxiety. That's why you need to know your highs and lows. And most of the times, if someone is struggling in the need of support, experts explain how to best help someone with anxiety, including what to and not to say to your loved ones. Check in, make sure everyone's okay. Make sure people with dealing with anxiety, they have their space. See, I just said that. We need space. We cannot be. I go ghost for a minute when my anxiety goes up. Like, you will not hear from me. I need to isolate myself. Another thing they said draws anxiety, which I found, I didn't know this. According to the Baltimore-based psychologist and co-author of Breathing Room, is decluttering your home. Like, if your home is cluttered, you get anxiety. I just call those people hoarders. Like me, I love shoes. I love shoes. I love shoes. I love handbags and clothes. But I have no space to put these things. So I just nicely, in my room, I have 2 dressers, the closet. But it's not even it's like a deep closet, but it's not a walk-in closet. And my shoes are lined up all against my wall. They're all under my bed. They're all in my closet. The clothes are just nicely folded in the drawers, but then they're also nicely folded in bags, like across the whole wall. So, then coats are actually on hangers and coats are actually on the coat racks on the doors. So it's just like really, but it's not cluttered to me. But when my daughter walks in the room, she's like, oh, mommy, you need to get rid of some of this stuff, because she likes nothing. Like, she likes every room to be bare, to wear their stuff. And if I give her the chance to go through my stuff, she will be throwing everything away. Oh, you don't need this, you don't need that. But yeah, they said according to clutter, you need to declutter your home, because it also can cause anxiety. Remind people that you love them. The people that you love, remind them that you love them. Because some people with anxiety seeks lots of external reassurance for their thoughts and behavior. And their thoughts and behavior are not the things that you want to reinforce. Unconditional love and care is what you want to reinforce. Inappropriate support. You don't want to make these people feel like, they're alone. I always say that. Never let people feel alone when they're going through anxiety, depression. Because sometimes it can be a real lonely place. A real, real lonely place. And you're helping to destigmatize mental illness and struggle with mental health. So, every time you're able to talk about anxiety in the same way that you would say any other topic, you're taking a step to decrease, ultimately nick any stigma of shame surrounding mental health and emotional health. So, this is what you're going to say to someone with anxiety. Now keep in mind, that you should always put your own oxygen mask on first. So the most important aspect of any of these statements is that you truly need to be prepared to help as best as you can when the time arrives. So you have to say, I'm trying not to gauge so deeply if I am having my own struggle, as I cannot help someone else if I have not first helped myself. So if you're experiencing a lot of anxiety yourself, it may not be the best time for you to offer help and support. But if you feel like you're in a solid place mentally and can follow through on being there for a loved one or a friend or whoever, then, check on them with anxiety. Get curious. Most people don't grow up with an expansion mental health. After centuries of mental health being essentially taboo, it can be extremely difficult to find the words to talk about something as complicated and from the outside perspective mysteriously. One of the most simple but impact things to start a tough conversation is to approach it from a place of genuine curiosity. So you're going to open the dialogue with a genuine desire to understand what someone is going through and help them through this life change. Now, see, we both win in that situation. So the person struggling feels supported and heard, and the person checking in gets to learn more, and they can come from a place of deepened empathy going forward. So what should getting curious look like? Start with an open-end question and a very specific topic. I care for you, I love you, and I want to support you as best as I can. Is anything I can do for you at this moment? Then listen actively for the answer and then act on it. Another one, can you describe anything I can do to support you right now? Another one, I love you. I want to support you as best as I can. I love you. I don't want to see you hurting. Okay? And give them support that's not tied to the actual anxiety. And please, in other words, tell your loved ones that you'll notice a change in their demeanor and emphasize that you're here for them and reaffirm it. You're essentially showing the person that their feelings matter. Anxiety can be an upsetting, isolated experience, and when a loved one shows support, it can provide a sense of relief and allow the person to feel seen and neutral. Validate their experience and emotion. Don't make the conversation about yourself. Consider opening up about your own experience with anxiety. The key thing is to say something such as, I've been there. I hear you. That must be so difficult, frustrating to convey to the person that their experience is normal and that they are not alone. Reflecting that person's emotion back to them and making them feel heard is a validation. It instantly soothes the nervous system when it comes to anxiety. Use phrases as, no, it's perfectly okay. Be gentle. Okay, it's fine to take a break. All of this are measuring and reassurance, putting people with anxiety at ease. And don't be dismissive. It is never wise to tell someone to just get over it, or to bombard a person suffering from anxiety with a list of should do, don't do. That's just a lack of compassion. Can make a person feel more anxious and overwhelmed. And before you say something, my therapist just told me this recently. Think about it. Like, run it over in your head to see if it's actually going to be harmful. And then if you hear it, run it in your head, say it out loud. Then if you hear it, then be like, oh, that's not going to help anyone. Then go back, rethink it, and think it in a positive way to give someone. Do not do this. Oh, calm down. It's not that bad. There's nothing to worry about. This is a form of gaslighting. So you basically making them feel guilty and shameful how they feel. That you don't want to do. You know, most people, when we're anxious, I don't think that's true though. Because when I'm anxious, I don't care if you're judging me. I'm at this moment where my emotions done went from 0 to 100 real quick. So I really get like this non-caring emotion. Like, I just don't care at that moment. You know, not all of us feel like you're judging. I just don't care. Please, when you're trying to help somebody, please avoid talking about yourself. Avoid that. Focus on their problems. And then, I feel like this. If you focus on the person's problem, and maybe, you know, you come along and really listen at first, and then can actually relate and not just make it all about you, it really helps the person to understand that, oh, I'm not alone, you know, they actually can relate to me, instead of them just sitting here listening to, like, are we talking about me or are we talking about you? And if you have, like I said, if you have suffered from mental health yourself, we can relate. We can help each other. You know, we can feel comfortable with sharing. Do not try to fix everyone's situation. And the reason why, because everyone's situation goes is not the same. Similarities, yes, but may not be the same, may not feel the same, none of that. So you don't want to fix everyone's situation. So I'd like to thank you for listening to my podcast. Please give it a 5-star review on Speaker, Spotify, Anchors, iHeartRadio. Maybe this is your podcast app. Please share. Please follow me at SON.IA9795 Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest. Please go to my website, http://podcasters.com. Sorry about that, y'all. I know it's annoying. Sometimes my other line rings. Yes, WWAVIL, you spoke home, so yeah, WWS Carbon. So you like to buy me coffee, go buy me coffee. Listen to my Sun Sounds album on Spotify, Apple, wherever you see music at. Please follow Sounds on Instagram. Have a blessed night.